welcome back to my channel. My name is Jenna, for those of you guys that don't know me. So I asked recently on Instagram what kind of videos you guys would look forward to seeing, and one of the responses that I had already kind of been thinking about was my most interesting and weird calls or patients. So I thought I would sit down and take a minute and tell you about one. I have a lot that I want to talk about over the years, but today I'm going to talk about one specific one. I actually wasn't working on the ambulance for this one. I was working as an ER tech in one of the local community hospitals. We don't have a lot of specialty services. We are a stroke center and a STEMI center. I don't work there anymore. I don't know why I say we are, but those are kind of the services we offered. Other than that, we didn't offer any like specialty services. But we were still a pretty common ER. So for this patient, I'll just get into the story. He was picked up by one of our local fire department ambulances and brought to us. He was homeless, and he had been in his encampment, and it was raining. I don't remember if it was winter or if it was just raining. And he went up to the, what is it called? Like the bus bench for I don't know why that was so hard. The bus bench to get picked up by the bus, but then he found a payphone and called 911. So his main chief complaint was the leg pain. Now, he had a history of congestive heart failure, hypertension, I want to say diabetes too, but I don't remember because this was like a year ago, and some other problems, but the significant ones were congestive heart failure and hypertension, or high blood pressure. And when you have congestive heart failure, if it progresses from the left side, so it starts on the left because that's what pumps blood back to the rest of your body, and progresses to the right side, which is where the blood comes from the body, the fluid can back up into the rest of your body, especially your legs if you're not elevating them, and they can make them pretty swollen. So that's where his leg pain was coming from, because he hadn't been on his medications. He hadn't seen the doctor. He was homeless. I want to say it was wintertime. The weather, being inclement weather, it made it hard for him to get to his appointments, even with public transportation. So long story short, he hadn't been to the doctor, not taking meds. So his legs were massive. Now, the difference between being on the ambulance and being in the hospital, in the ER, which thankfully I'm on the ambulance for this one, you have to get the patient undressed so we can do all the other tests that we need to do, whether it's simple things like blood work to scans, whether they're like CAT scans, x-rays, whatever needs to be done. And right away, the doctor was thinking about admitting him because he's obviously not on meds and his legs are massive, which means his heart's not doing well. So we're getting him changed, and he had, I want to say, like a sweatshirt on or some sort of jacket, a t-shirt, and then sweatpants and like orthopedic shoes or like New Balances or something. And he also had socks on. So he's getting undressed, takes his jacket off, takes his t-shirt off, and then he says, as he's taking off his sweatpants, he's like, I haven't taken off my socks in a year. And the top layer, he had two pairs. The first one was like your average like Hanes white sock that comes up really high. And they looked dirty, but it was like, I can't imagine a year. And he's like, I haven't bathed in a year. I like washed my face and my underarms and other stuff, but I haven't taken like a full shower in over a year. And it's just like wonderful. But you have to realize for these people what their situation is. So like, okay, so he starts taking his sweatpants off, and as he gets down to like the scrunched ends where your ankles are, maggots start falling off. And he blows it off like it's no big deal. And it's like, oh, there had been flies around, which it's raining, so I don't know about that. But there had been flies around. Okay, so that's still not normal. And at the same time, with homeless people or people with poor hygiene or similar, it's not necessarily an uncommon occurrence. Now, I want to say, best guess, like 10 to 15 had come off when he had taken his pants off. And then he had his 2 pairs of socks on. And we're just like, after the whole pants situation, we're just like, oh my Lord, what are we in store for? So then he's like, we'll take off the first pair of socks, which didn't seem like that big of a deal. Now, before I move on to the next part, let me say, when you have congestive heart failure, you have issues with draining the fluid from your body, especially if you're not urinating. And that problem can come if your kidneys are not functioning, which they won't if you have diabetes that's left untreated, and you can have renal issues, and then you can have something, males can have something called BPH, which they can't pee. So it's a whole slew of issues. And anyway, that makes when you don't drain the fluid, it makes your legs huge. Like, it makes your whole body swollen, but then it makes your legs massively swollen. And when this happens, your legs become leaky, and it leaks fluid trying to, especially your legs, because if your legs are like this all the time pooling, basically they dilate and they try and get that fluid out as the best they can. And so your legs can become fluidy. Sorry, this is super gross. It just gets grosser. And that's what was happening with him. And so his legs are massive. They're opening up, trying to get the fluid out, and they're still huge. So he hasn't taken a shower. So we take off the first layer. Well, we make him take off the first layer of socks, and some maggots come out. And then we're like, okay, well, you need to take, the doctor's like, well, we need to see what else is going on. So him and the nurse and some other people, I'm like, hands off on this one, attempt to take the socks that are stuck, like embedded into his skin, off. And as they do, maggots just start pouring off of him. I am not even exaggerating. Like 20, 30, like there had to have been at least 200 on this man, all living in his legs. And the thing is, I mean, now I don't know if he was amputated. I never followed up on that case, but you have to think, like, if they got amputated, because his legs were alive, they weren't dead. And the maggots were feeding off of him, and then the fluid, it's cringeworthy. It's just, and you have to debris the feet. You have to see how much neuropathy, because he wasn't walking around, how much neuropathy there is, how much sensation is lost. And I get itchy talking about this. Oh gosh. It was just, so we're putting on booties, we're gowning up, masks on, the Vicks under your mask, under your nose, mask on top. I'm spraying perfume. I always have smell good stuff. If you work with me, you know that I have smell good stuff around, whether it's a spray, perfume, whatever it is, and it's just not doing it. That is one thing for me, is skin issues and smells. And when I say smells, I don't mean normal bodily smells. I don't mean vomit. I don't mean urine. I don't mean fecal matter, because those are guests just come out of everybody. I mean, like, haven't showered for years, other smells that can come out of humans or environments that you can be in. That's where it gets me. And then creepy crawlies. Like, I love animals, I love dogs. I am afraid of, like, horses and goats because they're bigger than me, but I love dogs. I can kick it with cats, but they're not my fave. But when it comes to creepy crawlies, I can't do it. And that's what was coming off this guy. So I ended up tapping out. I could not handle that. And I've been in the environments, I've had patients before, but the difference is we wrap them up and we take them to the hospital and we let them deal with it. And even though we're in these environments, we do our best to, I mean, granted, we still have to go through the bed bug decon and all these other things, but even though it's crazy, you can be in these homeless encampments, you can go into these environments, but that was maybe because we are in ER and it was like, you think clean, and so it's coming into my home and making it unclean. And when I say my home, I mean like the ER, that's where I'm working, that's where I am, and now it's stuck in here. And they're like, these little creatures are going everywhere. They just keep pouring off of him. EVS is coming, we're bleaching everything, we're getting, like, trying to contain it, and they're just, whew, they're everywhere. So for people asking, the grossest call, or the grossest patient situation I've been in, that's it. That is one. I've been in a lot of dirty homes and a lot of nastiness, and that is one that I just, whew, that was bad. Anyway, if you liked this video and you want to see more, then go ahead and like and subscribe. Comment your worst house or patient situation or whatever you've been in. I plan on sharing more in the future, ones that are trauma and like all guts and gory and whatever, and interesting medical cases. I'm going to do a whole slew of them, but I thought, why not start off with a bang? So you guys, see you on the next one.